Episode number 4 of the Grounded Theory podcast. Got my boy Jahmouri Robinson in here.
What's going on, man? Nice to be on here.
J-Mo, thanks for being here, man. For those listening, may not know who you are, give us your story, give us your background. Tell the people who you are.
Well, my name is Jahmouri Robinson. Went to Cardinal Ritter College Prep. Played there for 4 years. Won a high school state championship. 4-year starter on varsity. All-time assist leader, scored over 1,000 points at Cardinal Ritter. And my career pursued on to Missouri Baptist, where I played 4 years of basketball at. Got my degree in human services. Was a part of the all-time winnings team in Missouri Baptist history, and was a 4 all-time assist leader there as well.
I don't like to use the term underrated because it depends on who you're talking to. Like, the real ones know what's up, who can hoop.
Yeah.
Gotta be one of the hardest people I've had to guard in my career. Talk about what separated you at an early age, because I mean, how tall are you? 5'9", 5'10"? 5'8".
5'8".
Okay, so what, like, growing up, kids probably hit a growth spurt. You're shorter than everyone, whatever the case may be. What do you felt like separated you?
Just my work ethic. I always was in the gym constantly. One of my best friends, Josh Webster, I was taller than him growing up. Like, we grew up together. I was always bigger than him, and we know what he is now. He grew to like 6'4". So I just was always just a rat, just in the gym constantly. Was tough. Just my hard nose just kind of made me who I am.
That's got to be one of the, like, not even frustrating, but just like, I don't know, just the like middle school, elementary school age of hooping is just so interesting to me because a lot of times what separates those people is like who's hit puberty. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to get your take on that because, like you said, for a lot of people, work ethic can definitely separate them. So talk about your family. They were definitely a big part of those early years before Cardinal Ritter. Talk about the impact that they had on you.
Well, I'm the youngest of 3, so I got to see my sisters graduate, do big things. One graduated from SLU, one graduated from CMO. My dad is a social worker. My mom was a school teacher, so I always had a good foundation to look up to, whether if it was sports or just, in the work field. So just seeing how hard they work kind of just made me just grow into being that as well. So 3 children, 3 college degrees. Was school something that was like preached in the household? Yeah. I feel like how I had to go to high school, I had to go to college, no matter if I played basketball or not. So academics was always big in my household. Did you like school, or was it something that, like, I just got to do it? I just got to do it. I'm not a school guy. Still not, but I'm still in it. I know I need it, so put my mind to it and just do it. Mm-hmm. So middle school, 7th, 8th grade, are we playing on like a circuit, one of those like top middle school teams? What are we doing? So it's my middle school team was called the Powell Magic. We were one of the best teams in the area. We did a lot of traveling. We won D2 AAU Nationals in Little Rock, Arkansas. So I say that was one of the big highlights in my early going career, winning Nationals of AAU D2. We also beat the St. Louis Eagles my 8th grade year. We played them. We beat them for the first time. So I made the St. Louis Eagles, but it was a story with that I can get into later. But yeah. Shit, let's get into it now. This is the time. Okay. This is the time and the place for it. Okay, well, my freshman year at Cardinal Ritter, the Eagles usually pick up kids who play freshmen as a varsity, play freshmen on the varsity level. And I was one of those kids, and they didn't. I started off on JV, and they totally kind of wrote me off. As soon as I got moved up to varsity, they were like all over me, like, yeah, we got to have you. So my dad didn't like that, so he didn't let me play for them 15U year. So my other team, we played against them in a few local tournaments, and we beat them a few times. And I feel like that was, a highlight. Just, I kind of stuck with my home team who was able to beat, the St. Louis Eagles.
What year did Jordan Barnes graduate?
He graduated 2016, so he was a year younger than me.
Okay. So who would have been on that Eagles squad?
2015, so me, Donovan Franklin.
Mm-mm.
Who else was on that team? Jacob Lawrence. You heard of him? No. 2015 was kind of underrated. Okay. We didn't have a lot of big names. Who else on that team? Preston Whitfield.
Yep.
Preston Whitfield. Marshawn Blackman.
Mm-mm.
No. Yeah, it wasn't. Those were like some of the highlighted names for that team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember. Eagles got some stacked teams in their history.
Yeah.
So going to Cardinal Ritter, varsity as a freshman. First of all, before we get into that, shout out to your pops. One of the most legendary referees in Missouri basketball. You're not a real hooper if he hasn't reffed one of your games. Shout out to Pops. Just had to get that out there.
Yeah.
So varsity as a freshman, Cardinal Ritter. What was the biggest adjustment from middle school to varsity? Because you're 14 years old playing against seniors who are like 18. What was the biggest adjustments you've had to make?
The speed, physicality. My 8th grade year coming into high school, I wasn't a great three-point shooter. Everything was to the rim. So once I got to the varsity level, I was getting that stuff blocked off the backboard, didn't really have a consistent jumper. So I had to just become a better shooter, faster and just a little bit more stronger.
And so was that, because the fact that like the speed of the game was an adjustment is interesting, because I feel like you could go in your spare time and like work on your game. But when it comes to the speed of the game, I feel like just playing and gaining experience is like the best way to overcome that. Would you say that that was your case, that it was just kind of like a matter of time before you picked up on it?
Yeah, I'll say by my sophomore year, the game started to slow down a little bit more. I used to play kind of at one speed, just go, go, go. And at that level as a freshman, that didn't really work. Guards were just as fast, just as strong. I was guarding 18-year-olds, guys that's committed to D1, D2s. So I'm 14 years old trying to keep up with that. So that was pretty tough. But I'll say by my sophomore year, the game slowed down for me.
I see that a lot with guys going up a level, whether that's like middle school to high school or high school to college, is they're used to, like you said, kind of playing at one speed. Because you can get away with it. You're able to just blow by everyone. But then you move up that level and there's more like technique, more stuff like that. So that's super interesting.
Yeah.
So another thing that's very interesting about your career is all-time assist leader, which is a common theme in your career, which we'll get to. Talk about your ability to see the floor, set people up, set your teammates up. Was that something that came naturally? Because my thing is like traditional skill work is you're working on putting the ball in the basket. Were you just playing a lot of pickup growing up? Is it just something that came naturally? Where did that kind of court vision come from?
I think that just kind of came naturally. Growing up, I wasn't really a workout guy. Never really worked on skill development. I was always pick up, let's get up and down. So I think probably just from that, it kind of helped me with my vision, seeing the court. And yeah.
That's a good ass topic to talk about, bro. Is like skill work is like cool. It has its purpose. Man, if you talk to the dudes in the league, like what they did as a kid, I just hoop, bro.
Yeah.
Just hoop.
Yeah. Like I wasn't I wasn't a big fan of. Not saying that I didn't need it, but I was always playing pickup. Like I never really wanted to do skills and drills. Like I always just kind of pushed that off and just wanted to just play pickup. So I think that may have just came naturally. My IQ of the game, just able to see the court by just playing pickup, being honest.
And there's that social aspect of it too, is like if you're a 10-year-old kid, you could either go in a gym with some cones and go between pound shot, or you could go run threes with your boys, And I think it's just better just developing instincts and just your all around like feel for the game, just playing.
Yeah.
And I think even like in doing that and running threes, you're working on your skills.
Yeah.
So there's a time and a place for everything, but I think like just hooping has got to be the most valuable thing.
Yeah.
So junior year, so freshman year, JV, swing, and varsity.
So I played 3 games of JV my freshman year and then got moved up permanently varsity.
They said, okay, he's that guy. Let me move him up.
Yeah.
Okay. Sophomore year, strictly varsity. How much are we playing?
I was playing the majority of the games.
Okay.
Still was adjusting. That was my sophomore year didn't go as planned. I thought I was gonna have a better year, but it didn't. Things didn't go as I thought it would go. So I remember that summer going into my junior year, I was really locked in the gym, motivated to want to come back, having a breakout year, and it kind of went for me that next following year.
And so sophomore year didn't go according to plan. Were those expectations you put on yourself, or was it kind of other people from the outside?
I'll say both. I had expectations for myself, especially being starting on varsity as a freshman. That next year, and they looking at it as to kind of be your team. I don't feel like I led the right way I needed to, and didn't really have the best of year I feel like I could have had.
What areas of leadership do you feel like you didn't have?
Vocal. I was more of a lead by example, but it's a time and place for that. I feel like on that team I need to be more vocal, and I just wasn't that. I think it just took some time, some growing for me to get there.
I like that point because you hear the point that people make about like there's different types of leadership, vocally versus leading by example. And that's valid 100%. I think to your point, though, it does matter like who your teammates are. Like there's a certain style that would probably fit well for a team versus another team. So I think that's really powerful. Okay. Freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, ring season. Take us through that season as a whole, any specific stories you have going into the state championship game. Talk us through your junior season.
Junior season, everybody was locked in. We had one goal, wanted to be state champs. My sophomore year team, it was the same team coming back for my junior year, so we all had chemistry. Everybody knew their roles. It was no egos. Well, I won't say that. It was I had an ego, and so did my other guy, Sean Clancy. He was one of the best players I ever played with. At the beginning of the season, we used to bump heads. I wanted to be the leading scorer of the team so bad, but I kind of sacrificed that, knowing that it's cool for me to be Robin and let him be Batman. And once I put that within me, I think that's when we took off that year and went on won the state championship.
What was the culture like for the team? I know y'all were a pretty big defensive team. Were practices tough, diving on the floor, talking shit?
Yeah, practices was crazy. Talking, fighting, just going at it. First team versus second team was competitive. We had guys that didn't even play that probably could have played on some other schools. So, yeah, it was very competitive, and it just kind of carried over to the games.
And so when you guys are in practice, talking shit, doing what you do, apparently fighting.
Yeah, had a few of those.
Is your coach stepping into it, intervening? Is he on the sidelines letting it happen? What's he doing?
He would stop it at a certain point. He would try to see, who's going to do something. But if it got too out of hand, he'll, come stop it. But he wanted us to just come together and be brothers. And I felt like those things kind of brought us closer as a team.
Yes, 100%. I feel like conflict is what makes a relationship strong. Is that conflict, how you handle it? Because that's when your true colors come out. And I think if a coach were to step in every time there's an altercation, then as players you feel like, so then like that next play happens, big man drops the pass, and you're thinking like, damn, bro, fuck.
Yeah.
But then like, well, I can't say anything because coach is going to get mad, and that's just not the culture.
Right.
Then internally that kind of snowballs into something bigger down the road. So I'm a big proponent of shit talking and just getting it out there, bro.
Yeah.
Like say it with your chest, be honest, tell it like it is. I love that, man.
Yeah.
And that had to have contributed to the chip at the end of the year.
Most definitely. Like practices those some of the most fun practices I've been a part of. Like every day after school, like talking stuff, who's gonna win the day in practice. It just kind of just carried over to long term of the season of the ultimate goal.
And so in the summertime through high school, who did you play AAU with?
Team Ramey.
Shout out to Team Ramey.
Yeah.
For real. All 3 years?
Just my last two.
Okay.
So my 15th year, I kind of stayed with my home team that I've been growing up with from middle school. I probably should not have. Well, I won't say I shouldn't have played for him, but just kind of stayed loyal to him one more year in my high school year, and then kind of got into some bigger things.
Was that your first time traveling for basketball?
High school was when I got with Ramey.
Yeah.
We went on NY2LA, a couple circuits, so I got to see some real things on that circuit.
I'm trying to remember just the timing of everything and when like hoop mixtapes blew up. Because I know like they've been around for a minute. Like John Wall had a high school mixtape and all that. So they were probably around in your time. I just remember like when I was in high school, I'm saying that like we're not like just 4 years apart, but I remember seeing Tyler Hero and Jordan McCabe snap at NY2LA in Wisconsin. Yeah. I'm like, damn, bro, I'm trying to get over there. I'm trying to see what all the hype is about. Did you know, like, was the hype of NY2LA what it was when I was there or not really?
I think it was starting to become that around that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was starting to become that. Yeah.
And did you find that the competition was, like, where would the competition rank versus local?
There was no comparison. Locally and out on the road are two different ball games. It's not even close. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not even close at all.
So then let's talk about college recruitment, that whole process. When was like the first time you heard from schools? When was like the first time you got some real heavy interest? When did MOBAP come into the picture? Take us through that whole process.
So my 17 year with Ramey, after we finished up, I heard from like Maryville, went to their elite camp. I was MVP of the camp, but didn't receive an offer. Heard UIS, University of Illinois Springfield, they showed some interest, but didn't get any offers. What people don't know about my college story is, might shock some people when I say this, I only had one offer, and that was MOBAP. Didn't have any offers from any other schools. So just putting that out there, and I just kind of went and ran with that. My recruiting, I went on a visit to Mineral area. They wasn't really trying to give out a legitimate offer. Just a lot of talk from schools. Lincoln, No offer, just a lot of interest. So I kind of ended over at Mobap. I was going to go to Columbia. The coach that recruited me ended up getting a head coaching job at Mobap. He was assistant coach at Columbia. So he called me and said he had changed of plans, and he ended up deciding to offer me at Mobap. So I kind of just, went where I felt the coach really wanted me.
Was there a stigma? I don't know if stigma is the right word, but just just from like your friend group, I guess, teammates, just the basketball culture as a whole, I feel like it's easy to get caught up in like D1 or bust mentality. Did you feel that at all?
That was me for sure. I was embarrassed to tell people where I was going to college. I had that D1 thing very bad. Like, I just knew, like, I could play in OVC, CMO, EIU. I feel like I could have played in that conference. So when those schools didn't offer, it kind of just took a toll on me. And but everybody's plan's different. I don't regret going to Mobap. I thought I had a good career there. And yeah.
From getting the offer to showing up on campus for your first day of school, at what point in that process mentally would you say that you like bought in to being where you're at?
I don't think I really bought in until the first days of practices. I was still thinking like I should be somewhere else. But once I got in those practices, I realized like there's some good basketball here too. And I got to get better. So it was a rude awakening once those practices started, for sure.
That's what a lot of people don't realize, and I didn't realize that either. Like, I went D3 out of high school, and then from what I see on Twitter, you would think that D3 is like some YMCA type stuff. They can hoop, bro.
They can hoop.
They can hoop.
They can hoop.
And so, like you said, man, showing up to practice, they can hoop, though.
That's when it like kicked in, like practices. I'm like, man, this stuff is hard. Like I'm getting killed out here. And I'm talking about I should be playing somewhere else. So I think first full week of practice, I remember calling my dad. I was like, this is some good basketball. Like this isn't a joke like people say it was. So yeah, that first full week of practice is when I was like, okay, I got to get better.
And so Missouri Baptist, an NAIA school in Missouri. Talk about where NAIA falls, I would say, like on the court competition-wise, D1, D2, D3 for NCAA. Where would you say NAIA ranks in those?
I would say right underneath D2, but really it's somewhat the same, in my opinion. I feel like my conference was really good. We had some good players in it, some pros. But I would probably rank it if we go D1, D2. I'll put NAI there, then D3. If I had to rank it.
And then aren't there different levels like NAI?
Yeah, they have NAI, D2. That's pretty much it's the same really. Just the size of the school. But if I had to rank it from NCAA, I would probably rank it right there with D2 or maybe just a little bit right under it.
And so NAIA being like its own organization, it has different rules than NCAA. I know I'm pretty sure they start practices a lot earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Were there any other rules or regulations that kind of caught you off guard?
Rules? No, not really. Not really.
Okay. So freshman year at Mobap, are you playing a lot?
Had the red shirt my freshman year. Didn't have the right ACT score. So I had to sit out my entire freshman year and just practice. Now that was probably the toughest year of my life. Sitting out, hoping you were out there, having to show up every day, be a professional, and not play. That was different for me. But it also kind of helped me learn the system coming back into my redshirt freshman year to kind of know what I need to do out there on the court.
Were there ever points during that season that you were like, damn, bro, I don't know if I want to do this? Or were you always just bought into it?
Well, I always was bought in just for the love of the game. There was days where I was just like, man, like, I'm not playing. Coach is on me like I'm playing, like yelling at me in practice. I'm not playing. But I know he really had high hopes for me coming there, and it ended up paying off in the end. So I don't regret going there at all.
And so we talked about your biggest adjustment from middle school to high school. What would you say your biggest adjustment was, or adjustments were, from high school to college?
Different styles. Cardinal Ritter, we were more up and down, run and jump you. The college game isn't necessarily that. Depends on what school you go to. You're not going to really run and jump and make college guards turn the ball over. So just adjusting to having to play in the half court. We ran a post-oriented offense at Mobile. That was different for me. I always had the ball in my hands at Cardinal Ritter, being able to play make. So I had to learn how to pass, relocate, and knock down threes off the catch, off the post entry. So I feel like I had to adjust to become the better catch and shoot guy. So I just had nights in the gym just, working on my jump shot, and I felt like that kind of helped me get better with the half-court style of basketball.
I had Sam Briscoe on here for episode number 3. We were talking about player development in college. First of all, did you have like a skills coach on staff at MoBep?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. And then what type of, take us through a typical workout with him?
Well, they would design out a workout for each player. So my workouts consisted of a lot of shooting drills. So we would do a drill called 40 and 4. So you would shoot for 4 minutes, and you got to make at least 40 threes. Another drill would be five spots. You got to make 5 threes in a row before missing 2 in a row from all 5 spots. Yeah, a lot of shooting, getting up reps. Those are my workouts.
Just shots.
Just shots. It wasn't. I'm not saying I could just do everything else perfectly, but I wasn't the best of 3-point shooter. And at the college level, you can't just get to the rim all the time. So I felt like those drills actually helped me become a better shooter. I shot 40% my last 2 years of college. Never did that ever. So I would say shout out to those guys that put the work in with me.
For sure. So then, by your senior year, you're the primary ball handler, aren't you? So then how did that evolution happen?
My senior year, that was just kind of a year I kind of just able to display everything. Had 30-point games, 39s, 37s. I was just able to display everything my senior year. Had a good individual year. We didn't have the best team year, but, sometimes that's how it goes. But individually, had a really good year my senior year.
And was that you adjusting to the college game? Because I tell people all the time, your senior year of whether it's college or high school, you're playing with guys either your age or younger. So you kind of have an advantage. Would you say it was that? Would you say it was the coaching change, a mix of both? What was it?
I said a mix of both. I was a fifth-year senior. So, I'm out there playing against, some younger guys. So the game is just a lot easier at that time. Also, my coach, the system changed. So we were starting off playing in a post-oriented offense with my other coach. And when Coach P came in.
Shout out to Coach P.
Yeah, Coach P is probably my best coach I've ever had. He came in and we kind of got back to playing how I feel like I played at Cardinal Ritter. More guard-oriented basketball, ball screens, get me in some horns actions. I feel like I got back to being who I was as a player my senior year. Not saying I wasn't my other years, but who I really was, I'll say Coach P came in there and kind of got me back to what I really was.
Did y'all watch a lot of film?
Yeah, we did. We watched a lot of film together. We also watched film of, the years before. He was like, man, I seen what you did in Cardinal Ritter. I want to get you back to playing like that for your senior year. And when I heard that, it just kind of made me lock back in. Like, man, he really, okay, let's do this.
Pick and roll maestro. Had to have been fun picking apart the defense, especially being a fifth-year senior. The game's slowing down. You're able to make those reads, put them in jail, a little pocket pass. Talk about how much fun that was.
My senior year was probably the most fun I've ever played basketball in my life. Hometown kid, a lot of friends and family got to come watch me play. Never scored 30 plus ever until my senior year in college. I thought that was just, crazy. Like some of the stuff I was doing, I was just like, wow, I'm really doing this. So it was just a blast to have my family just to come see those moments with me.
Talk about the balance between school and basketball in college.
Just time management. I never had too much of a big issue with that. I was really good with time management and just kind of reaching out to people if I needed help. So I wasn't one of those guys that kind of slacked off. I was able to stay focused. Like, I wanted to play. So I made ways to get my schoolwork in there as well.
Let's circle back. You mentioned Josh a while ago. Talk about your guys' relationship, what he meant to you. I bet you guys were running ones at some point. I know that we pulled up to some open gyms, the three of us. Just talk about that relationship with him.
Well, Josh, we been best friends since we were 3 years old. Grew up on the same street. Used to spend the night at each other's house almost every week. Almost one-on-one battles, fighting in the backyard. Hated losing to him, still do. He wasn't that tall, though. I used to have a size over him. We won a state championship the same year in high school. He won CBC his senior year. I won my junior year. That was historic. We always dreamed of. We wanted to win a high school state championship, so to do it in the same year, that was fun. We won D2 AAU nationals together. I can go on about this. Then he got the UMSU. That's where I really saw him separate. He got the UMSU. He did 1 year, red-shirted, and he just had a crazy growth spurt one summer, and he just, man, this dude, he's different. So just to see what he's doing now, he really worked for that because I'm talking about a kid in high school that he didn't really play that much to his senior year. A lot of people, they're just, I'm done with it. For him just to stick through some of those tough moments in high school, I just have so much respect for him. So our relationship is very tight.
I like Josh a lot. I know I like his game a lot too. Because I know when he was in high school, he didn't make Gateway. He was kind of counted out, a little bit of an underdog. And even my first time playing against him, you kind of get caught off guard because his game isn't.
It's not flashy.
Not flashy, bro. And so you're like, okay,
yeah,
I can kind of hang with him. But then it's just the simple stuff. One dribble pull up, shot fake, get to the rim, catch and shoot three.
Yeah.
He'll go up and dunk on you. Just real basic stuff. And I think that shows just, I don't know. There's a time and a place for the bag, 100%. But, he's making a quality living off of one dribble pull-ups and jab steps.
Straight to the point. Yeah. No flashy, just got an old school game.
Mm-hmm.
So he put in a lot of work. It's counted out always, but, stayed in the lab and, it paid off for him.
So back to your career. At what point did coaching and training enter your mind as a possibility?
So I did 1 year of the TBL. I came back that summer trying to figure out what was next. I didn't know if I wanted to keep playing, but I kind of came back home, got into some youth coaching, met some kids, started training them, kind of fell in love with it a little bit, and kind of just stuck with it. I started off at Larry Hughes. They had like a third grade team, and somebody asked me to coach them. I never thought about coaching. I got to coaching them. I was having fun with it. Found some kids that loved the game just as much as I did. And, it kind of just gave me a second look on things. And I kind of literally just off coaching those kids at Larry Hughes, that's why I got into coaching now.
So it didn't really cross your mind as you were playing?
No, like when I came back from the TBL, I was trying to go back to the TBL the next year, but just got with a group of kids, just started having fun with the training aspect and the coaching side of it, and ended up being an assistant coach over at the College of Pharmacy when I came back home from the TBL. That was a cool experience. So I just kind of just stuck with it and just stayed in it.
How'd you get the pharmacy job?
Well, the coach coached against me in the same conference at Mobap, so he kind of knew me. I've kind of known him for a while. He reached out to me and asked me would I be available for doing that. So I just went on and just kind of did it. At that time, I was just fresh coming back from playing, didn't really know what I was trying to do still. So I just kind of any opportunity that came, I just kind of just went with it, and just kind of how it happened.
So let's talk about the TBL for a little bit. So for those listening that may not know what it is, kind of just give us the rundown of what exactly the TBL is.
So it's a pro league in the States, many different teams in different cities. Pay scale is different amongst who you play for. It's good quality basketball. I played against some high level pros, guys that played in the G League. Really, really, really good basketball. If you're trying to if you're trying to get somewhere with basketball, I'll say you should start there. A lot of guys have got contracts to move up the ranks from playing in the TBL. So, I'll say it's good quality basketball.
Is it categorized as like semi-pro or what is it?
Now, semi-pro is you don't get paid. For TBL, you're getting contracts, so you're getting paid, once, twice a month while you're playing. And also, I had living expenses paid for as well, so it was good quality professional basketball. It could rank, like going overseas. You're just in the States, so.
That was going to be my next question, is like the time commitment for it. Was it similar to overseas where you have your crib, you go to practice, and then that's it?
So, we practice every day. Games are Saturday and Sunday, whether it's away or home. You have your own crib. I had a hotel. So all the out-of-town players had a hotel, their own room. A nice quality hotel as well. We practiced Monday through Fridays, traveled on the weekends on the bus, whether we played in Little Rock, Texas, Omaha, Shreveport. Went to a lot of different places playing in the TBL. So I thought it was a good experience for me.
So you're living in a hotel. Did that ever get kind of weird? I'd imagine you'd crave a home.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, a little bit. But I had kind of met some people out there that kind of made me feel like I was back at home. Just, being social, meeting new people and things like that.
Because where were you living at?
Little Rock, Arkansas.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Solid. So you said you traveled I think Texas was the farthest spot you mentioned.
Went to Houston, Texas, Waco, Texas. Went to Shreveport. Went to Nebraska, Omaha. Yeah.
So that's got to be cool, like, because you're getting a taste of professional basketball, because that's your job.
Yeah.
You know, like you're going to practice and playing games, and you're getting paid to do it. Was that eye-opening to you, and you're like, damn, like, I'm trying to do this for a lot of years? Or did you kind of know this might be a 1 or 2 year thing?
I wanted to continue playing when I came back, but just had to make sense as far as financially. Also, like with my contract, I was trying to get it to go up, and just some agreements wasn't, on the same page in that regards. So, like I said, I came back home, kind of just got into some different things, and just, fell in love with it, with the coaching and training. And I just I guess I just said, you know what, just kind of put it down for a little bit, and just kind of went on and moved on to something different.
Did you hire an agent?
I had one in Germany. It was during COVID, so just kind of bad timing for all of that going on. I went over to Larry Hughes and met up with a guy named Harrison Brumley. He's from Little Rock. He's kind of helped me get that opportunity out there. He took me to a tryout in Memphis. I did well. They ended up offering me a deal. And so I want to shout him out, because without him, I don't even think I would have got that opportunity. So shout out Harrison Brumley for really looking out for me.
That's solid. So coaching started with 3rd grade. When that began, so something kind of struck, and I was like, okay, I enjoy this. Did you think about what was next, how you could level up, or were you just locked in on your 3rd graders?
In that moment, I was just kind of locked in on my 3rd graders, because coaching, like I said, coaching was never anything I wanted to do. I wanted to just play until I could never play again. So I was just kind of locked in on them. And just as the years started to progress, different opportunities started to come. Like I said, I got the pharmacy assistant coaching job. And after that, I went over back to my old middle school and coached my old middle school. And now I'm over at MICDS. So each year I've kind of moved up the ranks, I'll say. And so I'm just kind of following that and seeing where that takes me.
Shout out to MICDS. Shout out to Travis Wallace. That's family. Was there a point in, like, when you first started coaching that you were like still thinking about going back to playing?
Yeah, I won't lie. I still think about that, like, to this day.
Yeah.
I still think about, social media, I see it, like, man, I want to try to get back out there. It's not too late. I still got it. But I just feel like I have a different calling than, that I've used to have, as far as just continuing to play. I got a lot of kids and families I've connected with, that are just, I love what I'm doing right now. I really do.
At peace with it.
At peace with it. Don't get me wrong. I still got that itch to, get back out there, but I don't want to just go back out there just for, ego. It has to be, I'm fully locked back in. This is what I want to do. I'm trying to really get back into it. I don't want to just go back just because of my ego.
So you're still hooping?
Yeah.
Working out,
pick up, still doing what I do.
Solid.
Yeah.
Solid. I forgot to ask this about college. Lifting. I've always been super interested in that side of basketball, the off the court performance stuff. What kind of stuff did they have you doing there?
Well, my college coach, he was real big on the weight room. So a lot of squats, deadlifts, lat pulls. We hit the weights pretty hard. We used to have weights on game days, like just a light lift. Every other day it'd be legs or upper body. Even we had to come in on Saturday mornings and get our lift in, even if we didn't practice. So lifting was something I had to really adjust to, because in high school we didn't really lift at all. So once I got to college, I had to really put some weight on. I was small. I think I gained like 15, 20 pounds just in one semester when I got to college. So yeah, they were big on the weight room at Mobile.
Did you like lifting on game day?
No. Some days I would go in there and just kind of, I really do it. But yeah.
The argument for lifting on game days is like keeping the high days high and the low days low. Right. Game day is high intensity. If you say, all right, well, let's save our lift for the next day, well, then that day is high intensity, and then practice the other day. And then, so keeping the high days high, keeping the low days low. And then like, there's the idea that you're already like hyped up because it's game day, so you can just bust out a lift pretty quick.
Yeah.
But I do imagine every player is different. I know like a lot of times you'd probably be like just locked in on the game and want to focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So coaching and skills training, do you prefer one over the other?
That's a good question. I love both, but it's nothing like, I like coaching. I love coaching. I love strategizing, love out-coaching other coaches. I love putting players in positions to be successful. I think I would probably choose coaching over skills training.
Was that ability and desire to like out-coach and X's and O's and kind of moving the chess pieces, was that something you had in your playing career, like really diving into the playbook, and if this happens, then this, were you like locked in on the X's and O's when you were playing?
Nah, I would just say I was just a lot of just instinct. I had a really high IQ, really could see the court. So I think that just having that kind of IQ translates to me kind of getting into coaching, just kind of knowing the game, knowing where this person should be at. If I set a ball screen, they, fly back, just different stuff like that. Just my IQ has kind of helped me with the coaching side of it, I feel like.
Has there been a big surprise with coaching that could be on the court, off the court, dealing with players like as people? Was there any like big surprise?
You gotta learn people's personalities with coaching. Everyone's different. You gotta know the kids that you can, kind of yell at and kind of get them. You gotta know the kids that you gotta bring to the side and say, hey, this is what I need you to do. So with coaching, it's helped me to just learn different people's relationships and just become a better people person, just overall in just life too.
Has a kid ever pissed you off and you had to snap on him?
Yeah. It's one kid on my 6th grade team that I really gotta light a fire into to get him going. And the parents okay it, so it's all good.
As long as the parents are cool with it.
Yeah.
When you snap on them, are you like this demeanor right now, but like cursing and stuff, or are you like kind of yelling? What's your?
No, I've never cursed at a kid. I don't feel like you have to curse a kid to, get the most out of them. I'm most definitely not this demeanor. I'm loud. I'm screaming. They see it in my face. But it's just really just to motivate them, just to, to just pick things up.
How do you balance skills training and coaching?
So during the week, I do have a lot of kids and clients that I do skills trainings with. Weekends are kind of my tournament days with my teams. We have tournaments. So I kind of balance it, trainings during the week, coaching during the weekends. So it's kind of how I balance both.
And then on top of that, teaching. So you're pretty much in the gym 7 days a week.
7 days a week.
It's what we like.
So this is my first year as a physical education teacher. So I'm in a school with close to 500 kids. So I see every kid in the entire school. So having to build and learn those relationships is something that I'm getting ready to start all the way over again, just on a different side of it. But it's similar things. But I feel like coaching and learning all these other kids I've been coaching has kind of helped prepare me for this situation I'm in now. So it all goes back hand in hand, just like I said, just in life in general, just becoming a better people person.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed, like, when I started coaching, the social skills just went through the roof.
Because me personally, before coaching, I didn't even talk. I wasn't a social person. Anybody that knows me, I was never that. But coaching, you got to be. You're dealing with kids. They're looking to you for the answer. So I feel like my social skills just went through the roof as well, like you said.
What grades did you say you were teaching?
So I got first, second, third, fourth, and fifth.
So what would you say is the difference between those ages? Because you're teaching, first grade, and you're coaching third grade, coaching sixth grade. What would you say is the difference, maybe like them as people or like your approach to teaching them?
Well, the difference. So now I have a sixth grade boys team. I have an eighth grade girls team. And I'll be over at MICDS. So when I was coaching them when they were third grade, it was just the motivation thing they needed at that age. They could barely run plays and stuff like that. So I just just the motivation and, the belief in them, pushing them in practice. Really, really, at that age, I was really on the skills more than anything with those kids. Before like X's and O's. By the time they got fifth grade is when we could kind of start executing plays and learning real basketball. So at the early ages, I really pushed the skill development just to help them become better basketball players. And now they can kind of, looks pretty good.
That is a good point of like prioritizing skills and the X's and O's. Because I think as kids, we opened the pod talking about it, like just developing instincts and just hooping. Yeah. I'm a big proponent of that, like just playing, bro. Yeah. Just hooping.
Just go play.
So that's very important that you took a couple years to like just do skill stuff.
Yeah.
Because then I feel like if you jump into it from day one of X's and O's, okay, we're going to set this ball screen and then you're going to come off it. Well, we don't know how to do that.
We don't know how to do it. So, at an early age, when I first got my team, they're sixth graders now. When I first got with them, I was really big on the skills. Like, practices would be skills some of the times before just kind of trying to execute a play and all that kind of stuff. A flex screen, they don't know all that kind of stuff yet. So, first few years with them were kind of a lot of skill development.
And then, so I'm thinking about this process of like, okay, we're going to start doing plays now. I feel like there would have to be a point before you're drawing up plays on the whiteboard that, like you said, we're talking about, here's what a flex screen is, here's how to use it, here's how to come off of it, here's a down screen, here's what this is, here's how to use it, here's your options looking for it. Did you do some of that before going to the whiteboard?
Teaching them?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the court, most definitely. My practices with them, even at a young age, the parents really fell in love with it. They felt like their kids were learning. So, I did a lot of showing them on the court before, like, on the board and stuff. Just teaching them, like, okay, so this is what a down screen is, stuff like that. So, before we got to, like, the actual play, they kind of knew what some of the terminology was, I'll say.
Did you enjoy that? Was there part of you that wanted to do the high level stuff?
Yeah, as a coach, most definitely. I did enjoy that part of, because at that age, I didn't know anything about any of that. It was just kind of just go hoop. So seeing these kids been able to learn some stuff like some colleges are doing at a young age, and I was kind of instilling that into them. I found some love and joy with that.
But all right, let's see what kind of, not even rapid fire questions, but just some like off the top type questions. So let's see. Well, first of all, MICDS, what are you most excited for going into this year?
Learning more what it takes to be a head coach. Being under Coach Trav, he's one of the best coaches around the St. Louis area.
Facts.
So I'm excited to just kind of just get into practices and just see what everything look like and just get better and learn more. So I'll say that's the most thing I'm looking forward to.
And is that the ultimate goal, is to be a head coach somewhere?
Yes, that's my most ultimate goal right now, to try to get on be a high school head coach somewhere around here.
Would you want to coach in college?
That hasn't really been on my mind, but, if an opportunity like that comes, I might take it.
I know a lot of people just stress like the time commitment that it takes.
It's a lot. Even when I was an assistant at pharmacy, that was a lot. Like, it just, you practice every day, got to do office hours, you got to recruit, you got to order meals, you're just doing a lot. You're traveling, you got to wash the clothes. As an assistant, you got to do that kind of stuff. You got to watch film, break down. It just takes up a lot of your time. So as a college coach, if you don't really want to have a big social life, then I would say so. But, I kind of want to have a little social life. So being a college coach isn't on my top radar like that. But, you never know. It could change.
You never know. Yeah. I met some people this weekend, and there's this quote. They were talking about have a plan for when your plan doesn't go according to plan. That stuck with me for sure. But I do think that, like, I just can't imagine having a family and coaching in college and balancing that.
There's no way you can it's too much. Like, I saw it. Like, the head coach at pharmacy, he has 3 or 4 kids, but I mean, he's locked into the coaching. You just kind of the grind, the sacrifice that you take being a college coach. Especially if you want to be good and win. A lot of those guys they're really in the gym. They're in the film room. They're recruiting. They're trying to be the best. So just the life you chose.
That's a good point. Is just the grind of it, because it is a grind.
Yeah,
bro.
It is.
Like, even at the high school level, you're in there 2.5 hours, 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And like in your position, it's important that you love it, you know? So that's good that you got a passion for it. What would you say are okay, let's do this. We're going to have a little fun. Give me your top 5 St. Louis Hoopers of all time.
All time. NBA included?
If they hooped in St. Louis in high school,
okay,
they can be on the list.
Well, Jason Tatum, of course. Brad Beal. Pat McCaw. BJ Young. Ben McLemore.
Yeah.
Ben McLemore. I'll go that 5 right there.
Yeah. And shit, we're excluding David Lee, another
Larry
NBA player. Larry Hughes.
Just those guys are not my era. So
yeah,
I could be a little biased towards the guys I kind of played against or at least saw play a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, what about, so we're going to bring it back full circle. Started the interview talking about how I don't like the term underrated. Give me your top 3. Because 5 might be tough. If you can get 5 bonus points, give me your top at least 3 most underrated hoopers in St. Louis.
Not including myself?
Shit, you can if you want.
I'm most definitely putting myself in there.
For sure.
Underrated. And what terms, like far as just then underrated or just overall?
Maybe it was you thought they should have gotten more offers than they did. Maybe I think that's a pretty good criteria.
Good. Okay, well, I'm most definitely gonna put myself in that if we speaking on those terms.
Or like they spazzed and maybe they went to a quality college that you think they were deserving, but like you feel like people don't talk about them as much as they should.
Okay. That's a good one. Yeah, you got me on the spot trying to think some guys that did good at some places. Well, James McKelvin, you know who that is?
I've heard the name before.
Yeah, he's been kind of making a lot of noise here lately in the St. Louis area. Had a really good year in the TBL. He went to MoBap with me.
Okay, that's why it sounds familiar.
Yeah. They just won a Pro-Am. He was MVP. I feel like he's most definitely a guy that really underrated. Nobody really knows, but they're starting to kind of know about him now. In college, he wasn't, played a role, but he's really like expanded into something new. So I'll put him down. Underrated. I wouldn't necessarily say Josh is underrated. Would you put him in that category?
You can make a case for him being underrated. You can make a case
for a case being underrated. I feel like people know him now. At least they didn't. But, yeah, I would go most two underrated. Three, putting myself in there. I would say that three for sure. Yeah.
Two that come to mind are, this is the Illinois area, but you remember Malachi Smith?
Yeah.
He's up there. Because I feel like when he was in high school, I mean, you could ask 100 people, they would not think that he's where he's at right now.
Right.
So I would say him, because I feel like he just kept on climbing, like Wright State, and then went to Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Okay, a little step up, and then he won like Conference Player of the Year or something like that.
Yeah.
And he entered his name in the draft and then didn't get it. And I think, well, then that's when he went to Gonzaga.
Yeah.
So then I saw that. I'm like, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
And then now, I'm not sure what he's doing now.
Yeah, but yeah, I've seen that story as well.
Yeah. And then the other person that came to mind was Brandon Fredrickson.
Yeah.
From CPA.
Yeah. You can say what you want, but he can score. He can score the ball.
The shots that he made, the difficulty, like he could make shots.
Yeah.
He was solid.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't, like you said, I don't know if I have a third. We're at the 63-minute mark. We got the so the first 3 episodes, we had this little box up here, and then we had a lamp up here. And I was getting sick of it. I wanted to switch the vibe up.
Mm-hmm.
So we got some little decorations in here.
Okay.
In honor of the Temptations and the Tribe Called Quest albums, we have some hip hop in the room. Give me your top 5. We'll go, do we want to go rappers, artists? What do you want to do?
We could do rap.
Okay, top 5 rappers.
Top 5 in order, no order.
Order might be tough.
Okay, I just do regular 5. Okay. I'm a ride wave guy.
Okay.
Lil Baby, Lil Durk, Gunna. I used to be a real big Lil Wayne fan. Yeah, so I'd say that's my top 5 right there.
What about, so like those are your top 5 favorite. What would you say are like the top 5 like all time? All
time. Tupac, Lil Wayne, Rod Wave, for sure. Lil Baby, for sure. Fifth, struggling on the fifth. Got a top 4. I don't got a top 5.
Okay, let me ask you this. This is a question I'm very interested in. I've had conversations at length with people about this. So when people get asked that question, they'll say usually 4 other names. A lot of the names are the same: Tupac, Wayne, Biggie, whatever you want to say. And then it's very, very common for people to say, and then I guess I got to throw Drake in there.
Yeah.
Why do you feel like there's that, like, I don't know the word for it, but why do you think they phrase it like that? I guess we got to, you have to throw Drake in there. Why isn't it not just Drake?
Drake's just kind of been in the game for a while. Popular, everybody knows him. So when you just think of music in general, he kind of just comes to your head. You just kind of got to throw him in there a little bit. So that's why I would think that, for sure.
So then, because like all those qualities, you could say that about Wayne too.
Yeah, that's another one. When you think of just rap, Lil Wayne pops up right away.
But then why do you feel like there's this, like, you feel obligated to put Drake in there? Not you specifically, but just people in general.
Well, I think he's one of the GOATs when it comes to just what he does. I'm not a big Drake guy. He wouldn't be in my top 5, but I could see why others might want to put him in his and theirs. But I'm not big on Drake like that. He's great though. He's one of the GOATs, but he's just not. Let's turn on Drake. That's not me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not necessarily like a huge fan of Drake. I just think it's always interesting because, like, if we go like streams on YouTube or Spotify, whatever, he's historically one of like number one.
Yeah.
Like, he has hits.
He does.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just interesting that someone like at that level isn't like undisputably the GOAT, the number one.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to me. So that being said, man, I think we went full circle. We went elementary school, middle school, high school, college, coaching, traveling, professional basketball. Is there anything else you have for the people? Any message? Any plans for the future? Any just lasting message? Any words you have for the people that you want to leave us with?
I would also just mention, I don't know if you ever heard of a guy named Cam Bishot.
Oh yeah.
Man, that the luxury that I was got to play with him my freshman year of high school. Man, that dude was by far like should have made it to the NBA. It was unfortunate what kind of happened to him, but that might be the best player I've ever like laced him up with. And it's crazy how things went, but that guy was an NBA basketball player. If anybody thinks differently, I don't know what you watch. So I just wanted to just, speak good on his name.
Shout out to Cam, bro. He left a legacy.
He did.
He's got a picture hanging up in the hallway.
Yep.
Like, he left his legacy for sure.
For sure.
Shout out to Cam, man. That being said, man, J-Mo, appreciate you coming on, bro.
No problem, man.
Episode number 4 is in the books.